as we said about at the top of the show, like the language that this show uses, for the sake of realism of these kids learning about themselves and also other people in their lives who are ignorant or hateful or just not respectful of the whole thing. A lot of the language that's used in the show, as Nina said, is not the currently accepted terms in queer politics, but it's very deliberate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because these kids don't know. They have no idea what's going on with them because nobody around them wants to deal with that noise or knows anything either. So it's just a clusterfuck.
And these words almost don't even seem to exist to describe what their phenomenon is.
No.
Like, what they're experiencing.
No one ever really says a whole lot of... Like, there's a couple lines that hint, that point blank talk about, like, transitioning as a real thing, and, like, but most of the time, they have no idea what they're talking about with themselves. They just want to dress like the gender that everyone's telling them they're not.
Yeah. The language that this show uses most often is, a boy who wants to be a girl and a girl who wants to be a boy. Now, my understanding of the language involved in trans issues is that that's incorrect.
Yeah.
They're
assigned
girl,
boy, but they are a girl, and they're assigned girl, but they are a boy. The use of Japanese language here is really interesting to me, and I wish I was more fluent, and I wish my one fluent friend would watch the show with me and not cringe and run away. Because one thing I do know about the Japanese language is that when it comes to pronouns, the only pronouns that really exist are personal ones that you use to refer to yourself, of which there are multiple, and you have the option to choose, some of which are gendered. However, when somebody speaks about you, or to you, or with you, or in the third person referring to you, there isn't a way to gender you. The pronouns they use or the nouns they use to refer to you are not gendered. So you can be talking about somebody and not know what gender they are until you actually meet them in person. Partly because sometimes names aren't always specifically gendered, though they are definitely ones that are. So that's definitely something that in, us watching this with subtitles definitely gets lost, because the subtitles, problematically so, is very specifically labeling these kids' genders with he or she depending on what their assigned gender is.
Yeah, I constantly noticed that, and I was just wondering if it was either the subtitling or just the fact that, like, if these kids don't even know that they're trans, they might not even question what pronoun they're given, even if they want to dress different. Like, that's what it kept coming.
I mean, that's kind of the empowering thing about the Japanese language is you're not given a pronoun, you pick it for yourself. But you are still assigned a gender, obviously. And whenever gender occurs, like, in word structure, it's usually you're specifically saying, I'm a boy, or I'm a girl, or you're using a pronoun like ore, which is an incredibly masculine personal pronoun to use to refer to oneself.
Yeah.
And, like, I picked that up in reading the subtitles compared to the... what they were actually saying, and it was like, no, they're not saying like he, she, whatever, because that's not a thing in that language. However, one thing I am a little confused about is if there really is a word for being transgender, because I know in like
there's definitely offensive words.
Yeah,
for it.
Yeah, well, there's offensive words for being gay or girly. There's this word called okama.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
And in general, it's Japanese slang, and it's similar to queer in the sense that when it's used by non-queer people or non-gay people in Japan, it's derogatory, but when gay people themselves use it, it's not, kind of.
Right.
And it's sort of difficult to place because gender and sexuality in Japan is always, before like Christianity came in, wasn't as big of a deal. Like it wasn't as like it wasn't as policed as much. But Okama can mean anything from a very effeminate gay man to just a gay man of any kind to a man that likes to cross-dress to a man who not a man at all, someone who identifies as a woman but is assigned male. And there doesn't really seem to be much of a distinction within the language for those different identities.
Well, yeah, it's just a blanket term. It's just a blanket insult term. That's probably not dissimilar to the way that a lot of assholes use the F word.
Yes, but in a previous anime we talked about that had a trans character, Tokyo Godfathers with Hana, she referred to herself as Okama a lot. And
Right.
that can sometimes be used as a personal pronoun as well, not just a noun or an adjective. So it gets even more confusing because it's been reclaimed, but not really, but it doesn't have a set definition. That's part of why there was some difficulty for figuring out. That's why some people speculated, well, is Hana actually trans? It's like, yes, she is. There just doesn't seem to be a word for that. I don't know if there is. If you are more fluent in current Japanese queer politics and the language that's being used, please let me know, because that's something I really want to know, and that's not something I can find on my own, really.
Honestly, hit us up regularly about that shit, because I'm always wondering.
I asked my friends, and they're like, I don't really know, because no one talks about it there, especially, and if there are people talking about it, they're on forums, and they might be making up their own words, and who knows how you actually say that word out loud because of the way the different written languages are, and it's I don't know. It's something I am very curious about.
We should probably get into this show.
Okay, sorry.
Just one more thing on that tack. The one time I caught the word Okama spoken out loud, it was translated as the T slur. That is, in that case, a localization choice.
Yeah, and it was it was spoken by an actual trans person. So again,
who had also transitioned.
Yeah, so again, it is similar to the T slur, which back in the day, old transgendered people used to use that as a word for themselves, even though it was also used against them. And modern trans people are kind of no.
Yeah,
it's very complicated.
Language, it's constantly evolving, and there's no set meanings for anything. Make of it what you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this show is based off of a manga of the same name, which actually we were told in an ask after we were recommended this show the first time. The manga starts at an earlier point in time than the anime. It starts with them in the last year of elementary school, or I actually don't know. You said 5th grade, Nina?
I believe it's the last year of elementary school. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the show starts on their first day of middle school. The show calls back to events that happened while they were in elementary school, but is structured in such a way that I'm sure there's obviously nuance you would pick up on by reading the manga, but you don't need to read it to follow what's going on.
Yeah. And the manga's actually been in publishing for a long time. According to Wikipedia, it started in December of 2002 and finished in August of 2013.
Yeah, that's
so
nuts.
It's long, and I'm also told that it goes on after the anime ends, but it's kind of hard to read the whole thing and not want to cry forever.
Yeah, no,
so
I can't go back. I was watching this thinking okay, well, this is just 11 episodes. I mean, it seems pretty good. I like the art style animation. I'm probably gonna go back and read the manga. 5 episodes in, I'm I can't. It's kind of like the opposite for me in a weird, different way of how I'm reading through the Berserk manga, and they announced that new anime coming out that they're just doing the whole thing now finally, and I'm I can't watch it because I've already read that and I can't go through it again.
Yeah, I don't know what to do about that.
I'm not going back there.
No, I don't like that place. But for this, it's I want to read it, and I tried. I really did. And it's so painful, and there's so many more things that happen that you're just I can't. I don't want to.
Reading something that's painful is harder than watching it. It's kind of like the difference between a horror movie and a horror game. In a horror movie, you scream, don't go in there, don't go in there, you close your eyes, they go in there, and it happens, and then it passes. In a game, you've got to be the dipshit who goes in there. Either that or you turn off your PlayStation 2 and throw it into a lake. I've been trying to play Silent Hill 2 for like 4 years now.
Yeah. Yeah, or I haven't read a horror novel, but I imagine it's similar. You're just like, I don't want to know what happens, so I'm just going to close the book and do something else.
Yeah, when I was in middle school, I tried to be a Billy Badass and like read like The Shining for my book report. I watched the movie instead, and that still scared the piss out of me, but it was a lot easier.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And if the teacher's going to get you like, where's the part about the manta ray, huh, dipshit?
See, that was the best thing about those book reports, is because our teacher was trying to like promote reading, so she goes like, remember, just be like, tell us about it, but don't like make us want to go and read the book, so don't tell us like super important things and don't tell us how it ends. So we all went, great, we don't have to finish reading it.
Yeah.
And no one did.
So some history about this show. She sort of based some of the characters off the previous manga that she was working on, and she went.
What's the name of the author?
Huh?
What's the name of the mangaka?
Yes, her name is Takako Shimura. Which apparently it's the whole point, like the whole driving theme of Wandering Sun is similar to the second half of her previous manga series called Shiki no Junin. Basically, like, when she was workshopping the idea, originally she wanted the main character to be, as she quotes, this is in quotes, a female high school student who wants to become a boy, end quote. But then later, quote again, she realized that a boy who wants to become a girl before entering puberty would have many more worries related to growing up, and she thought it would just be harder and more interesting as a story and as a drama. So that's what she did. The title is like a pun on Horo Musuko, which means prodigal son. So it's sort of like drifting, it's this different sort of layers to it. But she did end up having it be, two main characters, one F to M and another M to F, trans little kids. Anyway.
And then other secondary characters who span the spectrum of gender in a bunch of different interesting ways.
Yeah. So, should we go through characters? Because the plot itself, it's very like, it's almost like your typical slice of life school progression of things. There's the school festival, there's trips, there's summer, there's, SGA crap, there's tests, whatever. But we're dealing with characters that have some very specific and particular issues that other students don't have on top of that.
Yeah, every time there's a freaking school anime, there's always that festival where all the kids do like class presentations and projects and all that cool shit. Man, can we do that? What? I wanted to do that in school. Just wanted to say that.
That sounded kind of cool. Yeah, but you had to didn't they spend a lot of time after school working on that shit?
I get that would have been but they're always super fun. It's unlike anything after school that I was ever offered.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's the story of the anime takes place over 2 years, maybe a year and a half. Their break is at a different. The year starts at a different point in the year, so it's hard for me to really pinpoint it. But
they have 2 school festivals, so I want to say it's about 2 years.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know if those are biannually. I never figured that out.
I mean, they at least started 2 years. I just don't know if they finished 2.
I think it's. I think it was specifically a summer festival, so I think it had been a whole year.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, and the show doesn't really end with any kind of like definite closure. Like when it finishes, none of their problems are solved. They're still going through this stuff, but they've grown.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good way to put, because to tie a bow on this would be fucking out of control.
Yeah, this series ended as positively as it probably could have, which is also what I thought when I left middle school.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the manga ends because I couldn't get through the whole thing. I am told it continues past this point.
Oh,
maybe
good.
there's like a flash forward to when they're grown-ups.
No,
I don't know.
Just stop. I can't take it.
So we're just gonna talk about the show itself, so it's easier on us.
If you've read the manga because you're stronger, let us know if these kids are all right.
I really hope so.
If they're not, don't email us.
Don't email it.
Please don't.
All right. So our main character is Shuichi Nitori, Nitori-kun or Nitorin. Assigned male at birth, female.
Yeah. As he put... shit.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, the subtitles...
The subtitles throw me the fuck off.
The subtitles, okay. And then also, like, I feel like... I feel like even they don't really even know.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say they. As they put it, they want to be a girl. Whatever that means, because they're trying to figure that out too. Like, the opening episode sort of starts with, like, what are little girls made of? What makes somebody a girl? What makes somebody a boy? Like, they're not even really sure what that is, yet they sort of know that whatever it is, they want to be a girl. Or at least whatever their understanding of being a girl is what they want for themselves.
All they know is, like, they're uncomfortable with the role they've been given. Like, it opens with them in their uniform, just like this is strangling me. I feel suffocated.
And one interesting thing, like, when I read the chapters when they were in, like, 5th grade or whatever, in elementary school, they don't seem to have uniforms, so everybody can go to school wearing whatever they want, essentially, as long as it's, like, reasonable. So that moment was even more particularly, like, startling because it was the first time they were giving, like, this, like, crazy, like, gendered uniform that has so many connotations and so much history in their society. Because before, they could wear what they wanted, essentially. Like, art. Yeah, so.
Yeah, Nitori often dresses in girls' clothes. You see, they've got a wig of longer hair, a more feminine haircut, and their older sister Maho, is a model, and she hates that Nitori does this. She thinks they're sick and gross for doing it, and is trying to knock these tendencies out of Nitori for the primary reason that she is embarrassed.
Also, the other layer is that Nitori is really cute, and everybody sort of describes them as being cute, as being feminine. Sometimes they're mistaken as a girl, even when they're not dressing in girls' clothes. And her being a model, and her being in this sort of like world of beauty with these idol model girls, she also has a lot of jealousy. Like, she doesn't like the fact that her brother is super cute and might be as cute or cuter than she is.
I'm pretty sure her boyfriend likes her brother.
Yeah, having read the beginning chapters, it's a little confusing because in the beginning she plays along and she thinks it's kind of fun. She doesn't really recognize it as something that has to do with Nitorin's identity. She just thinks it's a hobby. That's how it's described, as a hobby. And actually, her boyfriend, before they started dating, met Nitori while they were in a dress and, performing feminine. And her future boyfriend, got a crush on them. So the sister made them continue to dress that way and go on, fake dates with this boy, because she liked him. It's very messed up and weird.
Oh my god.
So yeah. Out of all the characters, she and another girl we'll get to are the most complicated fucking characters in this goddamn show, and I don't know what their deal is.
Yeah, but that was the thing. It's and every single time I would try to wrap my head around a lot of the characters that I was having so many conflicted thoughts about. I just kind of go these they're all 14. No fucking shit. Nothing they do or think makes any goddamn logical linear sense. No fucking. Of course. If anything, the writing's brilliant. Fucking phenomenal. You've captured just the pure annoyance that comes with having a teenage brain.
Yeah.
Every thought you ever have is in spite of yourself and directly opposed to what you should be doing.
And poor Nitori. Well, Nitori is actually their last name. Their first name is Shuichi, which is a kind of a masculine name. I don't know. They go through their whole thing. They're really scared about puberty, the idea of their voice changing, body hair, pimples, getting taller, getting bigger. They're terrified of these things. And
it's not even, at least in the show, it's not even explicit, because it will make it harder for me to pass as female. Nitori never expresses it that way. They just don't want it to happen. Yeah, because
they don't it.
Yeah, we can assume all kinds of connotations if you wish, but it's not ever expressed.
Yeah.
It's very possible that Nitori doesn't understand why they're so opposed to it.
Yeah. Because there's not there's anyone... There really isn't that many people that they can talk to. There's not information out there. They wouldn't even know where to begin. Because, again, there's not a word for it, and they're confused.
Yeah. Now, Nitori and the other main character, Takatsuki, they're friends with an adult couple, Yuki, the trans woman we mentioned earlier, and her husband, Sheena, who they do go to for advice, but it's one source of, and these are two people who most likely figured their shit out on their own as well. It's really not a perfect mentor situation. First of all, they're kind of doing that thing where it's oh, when are you two gonna start dating? You'd be so cute together.
Yeah, and I didn't really appreciate that so much.
The second they start dating, you'd be so when you getting married?
A lot of people, and especially for maybe I'm kind of pigeonholing the Japanese culture, but it's a lot of people in this show are too blunt for me. How are you just gonna say that in front of their face?
I mean, for the middle schoolers, it's because, okay, they're shitty, but, Yuki is saying this stuff, be cool, Yuki!
Well, I think that's babies! That's part of her personality. She's very
blunt, yes.
She's very blunt, which is very abnormal in Japanese culture. And I guess she's just excited for them.
Yeah.
I guess,
and, part of it is because, she was alone when, her whole life, in a way.
That's true.
And the idea that there are these two kids who are in similar situations and they're friends and they're in the same class, just it makes her hopeful or happy, and she just wants things to work out really well, almost retroactively for her own sense of mind. I
guess my whole thing is they've got enough problems, and even if they didn't have these problems, every time they talk about relationships, I'm just you're infants. Please just don't bother.
But they're trying to figure out their sexuality and shit, and they're confused.
And Yuki's just completely not helping.
No.
I mean,
Yuki's the kind of person who, like, if would talk to a couple who just had their first kid, is like, so when are you having your second one?
I feel like Yuki does help. That's more like just conversational or whatever. I feel like she is there as a good anchor.
She's there to support
I did not
them.
mean
like,
to. I did not mean to apply that. I just meant in that one regard.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they can run away to her if they need to, and she'll let them in, and give whatever advice she can.
Her husband is also very supportive of the whole thing. They trust Yuki even if she's difficult in this one respect.
Yeah. She's the only other person they know like them, other than their other genderqueer friends who also don't know what the heck is going on either. So, but yeah, our other main character is Yoshino Takatsuki. They, again, this is going to get a little difficult when we talk about the both of them together.
That's why I've been saying the names more than necessary.
Yeah, so Takatsuki, they are assigned female, but again, similar to Nitori, they're not really comfortable with that stuff. Like, they don't like being girly. They don't like dresses. They like to keep their hair short. They don't like being seen as a girl, really. Or
they're
bras.
often they freak out when the gym teacher tells them they have to wear a bra. Yeah, so Takatsuki's going through a lot of dealing with their body changing before any of the assigned males are. Like before, like a year before Nitori starts having any problems with their voice, Takatsuki is growing breasts.
They have their period.
Yeah, that's not in the show, or was it? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I would have remembered that.
Yeah, that was probably the most painful thing in the manga that I did read. Was
I'm glad they got rid of it.
They didn't go over it because this was before. They got their period in elementary school, their last year of elementary school, and it was as traumatic as you can imagine it being. And of course, the shithead kids, boys in class, did not make it better. And, God, I wanted to eat my hand and cry. But, yeah, they too are dealing with, their body changing in ways that they're not comfortable with. Like, Nitori talks a lot about, like, just what if we could just stay the way that we are, Wouldn't that just be so nice if we didn't have to grow up? Because growing up comes with, like, this extra fear of becoming something that you don't want to be. Aside from, like, having more responsibilities and shit.
One very interesting dynamic that the show covers later on, and this also involves another secondary character, Chizuru Sarashina, or Chi-chan.
Yeah.
My daughter, I love her.
Chi-chan is a girl who shows up to the first day of middle school in a boy's uniform. And people either don't comment, or they think she's a little strange, or they think that she's dope for it. And she occasionally dresses in boys' clothes, but mostly dresses in the girl's uniform. And Takatsuki sees that and is very conflicted, because it's the kind of thing that Takatsuki deep down really wants to do, but is scared of how it's going to be, of how people are going to take it. And in a late episode, I think it's the penultimate episode, Takatsuki does go to school, not even with like the full-on boys uniform with like the high-collar jacket and everything, but just instead of like the bolo tie that they're supposed to wear, a regular necktie.
Yeah.
And one of the teachers comments on it's like, it's very impressive you were able to do that at such a young age.
I think they did wear the whole uniform. I think it was just like the summer uniform. So
the summer uniform, without the jacket. You're right.
Chi-chan does wear a mix between the girls' and boys' uniforms at some point.
Yeah. So overall, it works out for Takatsuki. Like they don't get any shit for it, really. But later on, Nitori tries to do the same thing. Tries to go to school in girls' clothing with the wig and the sailor uniform and everything, and it's a disaster.
Yeah, they can't even get inside the building.
Yeah,
before their parents are called.
Yeah, teachers call the parents. All the other kids are ruthlessly mean about it, and it presents this double standard, which about like what society is more accepting of, and what I think it comes down to is a patriarchal society's distaste for all things feminine.
Yep.
Yeah.
When a perceived feminine person acts more masculine, it's celebrated because it's moving away from femininity, which is seen as inferior. And that's obviously like total garbage of bullshit. And that's not to say that F to M people don't face their own suite of problems. All trans people do, and it all derives from patriarchy, but they're different. And the show does address that. Nitori says, like, when Chi-chan and Takatsuki did this, it was not a big deal. When I did this, it is the biggest deal. This is all anybody's fucking talking about. Is how
to the point where the teachers retroactively reprimanded Takatsuki and Chi-chan for what they did.
Yeah,
And the interesting thing about Chi-chan is, like, again, with pronouns, Chi-chan refers to themselves in the third person. Like, she has this line where she's like, Chi-chan is Chi-chan, and Chi-chan has always been this way.
Yeah.
Which is kind of neat, because I've heard in some anime, like, some, like, super cutesy girl characters will refer to themselves in the third person as their pronoun, and it's seen as, like, kind of, like, really cute. But for
Chi-chan, like, as an immature thing.
Yeah, it's like an immature, like, really cute thing. But for Chi-chan, it seems like it's very deliberate. Like, it's what makes sense to her or them or whatever.
My one regret with Chi-chan is we didn't get to see her dunk.
Oh, yeah. She
said, like, oh, you should join the basketball team. And I'm like, oh, she's got a dunk.
She's really tall.
Buckets. We saw,
she's
like,
gonna hit him high, hit him high, hit him high.
Yeah, we never even saw them, like, inside the gym, really. There's a couple shots, but I think I saw one kid run past the entranceway in the background dribbling a ball. Like, that's it. Man, fucking...
I want to see these these tall kids just toss this rock around.
and you know she fucking Jordans. You know that tongue is out.
Here's the thing. She'll chomp it. She'll miss the hoop by a foot.
She'll Jordan every time and be like 2 feet off.
Her legs are in a split and she lands bad. But she laughs it off.
She goes home and looks up basketball players' names to shout from the 3-point line.
Hoop Durimusu.
So before we get to the complicated character, I want to talk briefly about Nitori's other best friend. Their only... Again, it's complicated. Their name is Makoto. And Nitori calls them Mako-chan for short, because it's a little more feminine, it's a little more cute. Yep. And
also assigned male.
Yes, also assigned male. Mako-chan seems to be in about the same kind of position as Nitorin, though they go about it a little bit differently because they're their own person, right?
And I also don't think they're as cognizant of it.
Yeah, I mean, the anime isn't very explicit. Like, they're very cognizant of their attractions. Like, they seem to be attracted to men, whereas Nitorin still seems to like girls. But, Mako-chan still likes to perform feminine, enjoys it very much, enjoys having this other friend who's like that. But Mako-chan's a little insecure about it because Mako-chan doesn't feel as, like, cute as Nitorin. Like,
I mean, if you're standing next to Nitorin, nobody's as cute.
Yeah,
Nitorin's a cute little kid.
Yeah, and it makes it a little hard for Mako-chan because they feel like it's harder. It would be easy if they were cute, but they're
they,
not.
Yeah, they
So
feel like, you know, if they wanted to, they couldn't pull it off, is what they feel like.
Yeah. And that's a sentiment shared by many, regardless of their identity.
Yeah. But, you know, Mako-chan is a great friend to Nichiren. You know, they're very supportive and helpful and always sort of, like, looking out for them. They almost seem to be, like, the one who's, like, aware of everything that's going on, and it's sort of, like, gazing at the situation and just being like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, he a lot of the times he really seems outside looking in.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes he instigates stuff. I mean, he's definitely there. He's definitely a character. I enjoy his presence. I like him.
Yeah.
There's two specific moments with Mako-chan, Macho-kan, Mako-chan that that's the worst convention in the world. I bet. lot of body oil.
Ew.
No.
Is, you know, there's a bit where they're talking with Nichiren about, like, because for the cultural festival they do a quote unquote gender bender play, and Mako is very concerned about their and Nichiren's voices changing and them not being able to sound as feminine.
Yeah.
So they Mako insists that they record their voices as performing it as girls, so that they can, like, get a handle on it while they're still like physiologically capable of doing it. And Mako also insists that as part of the bit they dress up in girls' clothes. And to me that really stuck out because Mako they want to dress as a girl the same way that Nichiren does, but they don't have the courage to just do it the way that Nichiren does. They need to invent a construct.
An
excuse,
to do it.
a construct to do it.
Yeah. That's one of the like running themes of this show and with Nichiren as a character, everyone always says, like, man, like, you seem like this meek little kid, but it's like when push comes to shove, you can just fucking get up and get shit done. You can do it. You've got nards.
Yeah. We see this kid dunk more than we see Chi-chan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like,
societal dunking.
Nichiren will, like, go out dressed up as they wish and pass and just go places. I mean, there's still that anxiety of, like, what
I
if they
can't
find
do
out?
that just putting on jeans. Go into the store and buying stuff. I gotta, like, prepare. I gotta spend my morning getting ready to go do that.
Like, there is this really amazing moment in the manga where when Takatsuki got their period, it was when they were doing that sort of thing. Both of them were out performing as they desired. And Nichiren, you know, went to the drugstore dressed the way that they wanted to get feminine napkins. And it was such a strange moment because on the one hand, Takatsuki was suffering, but on the other hand, Nichiren was, like, felt good because the clerk didn't question anything, didn't think it was weird, thought it was perfectly normal. It's like, you know.
That sounds like a really heavy scene.
It is. It's crazy.
Yeah. The other bit with Mako is that for this gender bender play, they do an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, and Mako gets really. They cast it by luck of the draw, which, hey, that's stupid.
Yeah, but I guess it's fair.
That teacher is the stupidest.
That teacher's so dense.
What a schmendrick.
What a schmuck.
Mako gets the role of Juliet, and I want to come back to that play because it's the whole show, really.
Yeah.
You know, gets so wrapped up in Juliet and the idea that, like, they have to be Juliet. They have to rise to the occasion to be Juliet. Because everybody wanted Nichiren to be Juliet because it's like, the role is just for you.
That was one of the blunt things that I kept taking umbrage with, and they did that one the most, where it's like Mako would be there, in the room, and someone just go like, oh, Nitori's not doing it? Oh, that sucks. You'd be way better. Like, what?
You'd be the...
What the... Like, adults are doing that. I'm like, what the what are you talking about?
Poor Mako-chan.
I love Mako. He is cute.
He's so cute.
He's cute in, like, a different way.
Yeah, like, it's a different experience, right? And I like that there's multiple... It's not just about one trans person.
When he's older, he's gonna appreciate his strong-ass eyebrow game.
Oh, yeah. But it's about, like, multiple trans and genderqueer people who have different experiences.
It's just a bunch of non-conforming children trying their fucking best, which is basically what, like, happens at some point in your teenage life when you're not like when you're not like
jerking off and doing whippets.
Yeah, or I just like either straight or cis or some combination therein. It's because like that, the bully character, which we gotta get to. Like, one of his lines is like, you know, where'd you find all these weird, like, bizarre people? Why do you hang out with all these bizarre people? Where'd you even find them? And it's like, I feel like a lot of people like that, like, for real ask that kind of question, or else they'll see, anytime there's, like, more than one non-straight white person in a piece of media, they go like, oh, that's unrealistic. Why would that many non-white people be in the same place at the same time?
It's statistically improbable.
Non-trans people. And it's like, that's because we're all simultaneously avoiding you.
Yeah. We kind of flock together. And here's the other thing, and this is going to lead into a point I was going to bring up later, but why not now, is that when you're around other people who do break from this cis-het normative mold, you're more likely to assess your own identity and really think, and really question, because of the society the way it is, so many people grow up assuming they're cis and het.
Yep.
And hetero. And because they just don't take the time to question it.
Because they don't even think that that's a...
Yeah.
If the idea is so far removed, they wouldn't even know to do that.
Even if they do question it, because like I tried my best to question it when I was younger. Like I'm very open and understanding, but it took me forever to realize I wasn't straight, because it's like there was nothing around me to give me any like clear indication. It's too easy to just not know.
Yeah. It really is, and you're like thinking in your head, and you're like, no, I'm not. No, I'm straight. Everything's cool.
Why wouldn't I be?
Know.
I don't know.
Obviously, I'm straight, and I don't even know what cis means. I don't even see why we need a word for that. It's normal. That is a character. That is not me. Yes. Like it wasn't until 2 years. I was 23 when I realized I was bi. And you know what set it off? Is I watched a bunch of Bruce Lee movies in 1 week. It's like, oh, here it is. And like, I thought about like how much I was attracted to Bruce Lee, and then the more I thought about it, because I was working, you know, the graveyard shift, I was just completely alone for 8.5 goddamn hours a day, 5 days a week. So I just thought about it, and then like a bunch of pieces from growing up started falling into place. It's like, oh, I have been bi this whole time, and and because of the newer circles of people that I've run in, I'm more willing to even consider it. You're not even willing to consider it, and hell, even now, I'm starting to assess and figure out stuff about my own gender identity. I'm still very much deep in the paint of figuring some shit out. I have feelings of what I believe to be gender dysphoria. I'm figuring this shit out right now, and I wouldn't have if I wasn't in circles of people where that topic is brought up.
Yeah, it's open for discussion, and it's okay to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's been a weird confluence of circumstances in the past, honestly, couple of weeks that have made this something that's more in the forefront of my brain, and this show is one of them.
It'll do it.
This show, yeah, a lot of people who I've been hanging out with, especially more recently, who are trans people, and it's got me thinking about it more. But yeah, this show kicked my ass up and down the street. This show dust looped my limp body against the wall for 11 goddamn episodes. There were so many elements of this show that resonated with me so brutally. And I'm still, like I said, I'm still very much figuring shit out. Like, Tuchanina, this is probably the first you've heard of this. This is a new development. Like, it's been in the back of my brain for a while. It has gotten to the front of my brain very recently. I mean, anybody who's, like, met me, I have been towing gender lines for a while, ever since really I realized I was bi, like I wear crazy makeup. The makeup is crazy because I refuse to learn how to do it right. So I just,
it is.
So
boy.
I compensate by really owning it.
I guess that's whatever. That's a thing.
Sure.
Listen, doing it right is going to involve 5 more goddamn steps to my morning routine. I'm not going to do it. No, that's just like patent laziness. It's like I gotta put like Tooch, did you know that primer and foundation and what's the other one that sounds like a goddamn synonym for these two things? They're 3 different things.
Concealer?
Concealer. They all sound like they should be the same thing. If you put them on in the wrong order, you're fucked.
I mean, you could put on your concealer before or after your foundation, but the whole point of primer is that it primes your face for makeup.
And I thought that, Nina, foundation literally means the same thing.
That's true.
But it's like water and acid. If you do it the wrong way, you don't have eyebrows anymore.
I definitely feel that. I've always wanted to try some level of like a subtle, super easy, just like the kind of makeup where idiot dudes think women aren't wearing makeup.
Yeah,
like that's a good. That's always been something I've been vaguely interested in. But it's like anytime I talk to a woman who's been doing makeup since like before they can even remember, they're always like, "What? You don't know how to just do it? It's easy." And I'm like, "How? I don't know. I've been doing it since before I could fucking walk. I don't fucking know. Just do it."
For that, I would suggest a BB cream just to sort of even out your skin tone. You put it on like a lotion. It's a 1-step thing. Don't worry about it.
I'm not Nikki. I can learn things.
If your skin's kind of
God damn it!
If your
That's
skin
what you were just talking about for 5 whole minutes.
Well, this is one specific. Okay.
If your skin is kind of oily, then maybe put on a little bit of powder just to keep it from getting super oily, if that's a concern of yours. If not, don't worry about it.
It's not.
And then I would do like maybe mascara and like a lip thing if you want, or something with your eyes, maybe some liner, and that's a good look if you want something simple.
Like we can go over this at some other date when we're not on record. I am keeping this though because it's germane to the show in ways. So
okay, I'm sorry.
No.
Well,
I wanted to know.
Okay, so there's a character we need to fucking talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the most inscrutable character and the most complex character.
God.
It's
her
Chiba.
name, Saori Chiba, who is a girl. They seem to see themselves that way, so we're just gonna use she and girl to make things a little easier for us.
It's kind of a relief to not. Like, I'm so afraid. Like, I'm literally just so afraid of fucking up. I don't want to fuck up. I want to be respectful to everybody who's possibly involved in this whole thing, and just being able to use she is just simpler, and I don't have to worry about fucking up.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Chiba is a cis female.
Yeah,
yes.
She is. But she is odd because she's a Christian.
Oh yeah.
That's a really weird thing to be in Japan, if you don't know. They're quite the minority. It's not like in Korea where there's a ton of Christians. Japan, it's like, eh?
Yeah,
Japan,
never really took
religion
to it.
is barely a thing in Japan. It's more like an abstract, like, amalgamation of different concepts to form a personal spirituality.
Yeah, the local stuff is cultural, and all the foreign religions is, like, quaint and interesting.
Like, this is stuff we can fuck up for our... We can, like, take their holidays, fuck them up, and have a good time.
Yeah, Jesus is born today? Let's get some KFC.
Fried chicken.
It's like Santa Claus on the cross is like, I understand what happened here.
Well, KFC completely manufactured that thing.
Oh yeah, no.
Cause God,
I'm
anyway.
not pointing blame. I'm just saying it's an existing tradition.
Okay, so Chiba
is terrible.
Is pretty terrible. She is friends with their group, which includes but before they came to middle school and met Chi-chan and her friend, includes one other cis girl who's really cute and has pigtails and is always out of the loop of what the fuck is going on with her friends.
This poor
and
child.
just has to deal.
Yeah, Kanako Sasa. I choose to believe that she's like the protagonist of like a really like a for young ages magical girl show. So she's kind of doing her own thing.
Yeah, like she's trying. She loves all of these people and she just wants to be friends with them at the same time, but they keep having weird, complicated arguments and disagreements that she just doesn't understand. But anyway, so they all met in the 5th grade. They were friends. Things were cool.
Until they weren't.
Until Nitori sort of confessed that he had a crush on Takatsuki. And Chiba seems to have a crush on Nitori. But also is very fascinated with what she perceives as his hobby. She says at the end that she's always seen Nitori as a boy. Yet she has a tendency to push dresses and feminine clothing items on Nitori more than anybody else. To the point where even Nitori's like, can you not be weird, please?
We came here to do homework and you're trying to like play Splatoon with me. This is... I'm... Come on.
She's such a... I don't know. I don't know how to parse this little girl.
I don't.
What?
Pick something. Pick a thing to feel like.
The impression I got is that she's got her perspective of all of her friends, and she vehemently doesn't want them to deviate.
That's true.
From what that is.
That's very true. Because there was that whole thing where it's like,
Takatsuki's hair.
I was just like, holy fuck. You care more than literally everyone else on the planet. That's... Shut up!
When she was giving Takatsuki a hard time for having her hair
like
having
every
their hair
single
short?
day, it would be like, I like you better. You look better with short hair. You should get short hair. I want you to have short hair. I'm like, it's not your head.
And then when Takatsuki grew it out, they were like, well, boys can have long hair too. And Takatsuki was like, I don't fucking know. Who cares? But yeah, Chiba, she's very antisocial. She doesn't have very many friends, and she doesn't know how to be friends. She always says what's on her mind, whether it's appropriate or not.
Usually
not. It's very odd for a Japanese person, and also just shitty for any kind of person.
I feel like she's very much that angsty teen that I know exists, which probably frustrates me even more because it's like most narratives would like deal with that, but she doesn't have any resolution. She just acts like this for the entirety of the anime, where it's like, she says the shitty thing and knows that it's shitty, but continues to be shitty because she just doesn't feel like she deserves to be a good person because she doesn't feel like she is. So she's going to act like the thing she feels like in order to self-fulfill her own depressive prophecy.
Which I think is part of her Christian conversion.
Probably.
Perhaps.
That'll do it.
So yeah, she's always thinking about herself and her own perspective. She interprets people how she wants them to be. She has a way she thinks things should be. She's not respectful of anybody, particularly teachers. She is very standoffish and stoic and like doesn't really care what other people say or think. Her opinion is what it is. And when things don't go her way, she physically cannot deal and retreats in a way that makes it difficult for everybody.
I did like in that first episode when she just clocked that motherfucker in the head with a book.
Yeah, like she's also... Her relationship with Nitori is so complicated. She's supportive of them, she seems that way. She's always defending them, it's standing up against whoever's giving them a hard time, whether she's even in that class or not. She obviously has a crush on them, but she's so bizarre that her way of expressing it doesn't make sense. She insists she sees them as a boy, yet goes insane giving them dresses and shit. I don't know what she wants. I never figured out what she wants. I guess she just wants things her way.
She wants to be in control of the situation, and it's a complete impossibility.
Like she'll almost like fetishizes Nichiren a little bit with the way that they are, and she completely abhors Takatsuki because Nichiren confesses to Takatsuki, and Takatsuki's like, I don't feel that way. And then that makes Chiba mad at Takatsuki for being mean to Nichiren, but also she just hates them, because of everything that they are. Every episode she has a new reason why she can't stand them. And Takatsuki's
which she then tells Takatsuki while they're washing their hands. That's a motif.
And then changes their mind. And like later on in the show, Nichiren gets a girlfriend, which is a friend of his sister, or their sisters. And the girlfriend is also kind of an odd duck, but she's a lot more better than Chiba. Like she's like chill, she's cool. She's kind of harsh around the edges, but she gives Nichiren this weird keychain, and Nichiren's like, "What does that mean?
Do you hate me? What is this? Why would you do this to me? This keychain's so ugly."
And everybody's like, "Why do you have that?" And Nichiren's like, "I don't know. I don't even like it, but I keep it." But they start dating, and it's pretty cute. At first,
it's cute for like 5 seconds, and I'm immediately like, okay, stop. Actually,
her name's Anna. Anna. At first she's pretty cool with it, and like is like, whatever. This is neat. It's never clear, like, because there's a bit of an age gap, and also they're still so young. It's like, I don't even know what realm of dating this would be, because it's preteens and they don't.
That's those early relationships that like kind of barely count as real anything dating.
Yeah. But anyway, there's a scene. Chiba immediately hates this person. Doesn't even know them. And they all go to karaoke, and it's the worst thing ever. Oh my god, like...
I was gonna vomit.
Like, Anna was trying to be super considerate, ask what everybody wanted, was, like, excited to meet Nichiren's friends. Of course, Anna didn't know about the past with Takatsuki and how awkward it is, because when we start the show, everybody's relationship is kind of strained because of Nichiren's confession and Takatsuki's rejection of them. So it kind of like strains everybody's friendship with each other. So we're sort of like plopped in the middle of that. And we're just like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, the show definitely starts in medias res, but it's not... It fills you in within the first episode.
Yeah, more or less. But like at this... So there's all this tension in the karaoke room. And like... I don't even know.
She's like insisting that Anna order her a beer.
Yeah, and everybody's like, no.
No, and she's like, fucking do it. I fucking want it.
I fucking
Tension
hate
in the karaoke room is a good, bad band name.
I don't know. Like later on, after like a while, she sort of reins back. She sort of chills a little bit, like for her. Like she's no longer as much of a problem. Later, other things have more focus than her nonsense. And I don't know what the point of her is. Like in this story about these kids and their struggles, what is having a character like her bring to the table?
I don't fucking know.
I don't fucking know. Does anybody know?
If it's in the manga, I guess we'll never know.
'Cause, like, is she like this, like a twisted ally or something? Like, what is she?
I mean, again, going back to how real this whole middle school experience is, I think she's just like a confused, awful, jerky teen.
Yeah, she doesn't...
Who's gonna go her entire academic career being kind of a bitch.
Oh, God. And I feel so sorry, because, like, Sasa, like, loves her somehow.
it confounded me the most because it's like I'm not one of those people who's gonna like look at a fictional character and judge them like they're a real person. That's my biggest pet peeve about when people review media. Like, oh, I fucking hate this character. They did this to my favorite character, and I'm like, they're not a real person. That was done for a thematic reason that you're ignoring. Yeah. I hate
and
you. But like, I tried my best with her, and I couldn't come up with like anything.
All she seemed to do was create conflict,
and she had no arc. Like there were moments. There were moments where she broke down and like showed that like there was other stuff going on, but like we never saw enough of it to like get anything out of.
Like the last conversation she has with Nitarin, and she's just like, "I always saw you as a boy, and I will always see you as a boy." And Nitarin's like, "Okay."
Yeah, like what are you saying?
There's that earlier conversation. She's like, "You want to be a girl, huh? Are you gonna get the surgery? Because if not, you're not a girl." It's like. She's like,
how do you even know about that?
Wear this dress.
All of the obstruction that trans people face in society in one goddamn person.
But also, like...
So like hypocritical.
Hypocritical. And she's like, you'll never be a girl. Wear this dress. Wear all my clothes. You look cute this way. You should always dress this way. And it's like, what? Huh? Who?
And then, like, it just... It makes it worse, and like it makes every anxious situation worse just from watching Nitori just kind of like passively just have to take everything that happens to them.
Nitori
God, this poor child.
Nitori just eats shit all day long and
when he's not dunking, when he's not like asking for what he wants, like those times he's asked people out and. A couple of moments like that. They're so passive.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to pick your battles, and if this kid was gonna fight every battle, they'd be exhausted by the end of the day.
Yeah.
It makes you feel terrible, but at the same time, you get it, and that's one of the shames is that like you can't dunk on everybody who's a shithead in your day to day. There's too many people, and you can't burn that many bridges, otherwise you're going to be stranded in the middle of the river.
Yep.
Especially when you're in middle school.
In middle school, you have no agency whatsoever. You're a ward of the state, and the state hates you.
And like, nobody understands.
Nobody understands you, which is weird because it doesn't seem like there should be that much to understand. But like, what little there is to understand, nobody gets.
It's not that nobody gets, nobody gives a shit.
Nobody gives a shit. Because the thing is, what there is to understand about you is so fucked up that like even people who've been there are like, it can't have been that bad. It can't have been that inconceivably bad. It was.
Yeah. I mean, thank God for Nitarin's father.
Nitarin's father's like...
I wanted to cry after that scene.
I was so fucking worried at that scene. He's just like, let's go take a walk. And I'm like, Christ.
Because the mom was like blowing up. She was
the mom was like, what did we do wrong? This is our fault. Who
can we blame? She was about to throw her daughter under the bus.
Yes, she did throw her daughter under the bus. She's like, oh, you guys used to play dress up and shit together, and it's all your fault. And
you broke him. And whereas the dad's just like, okay, hey buddy,
let's go to the convenience store.
Let's get you out of this fucking house.
Let's get you some iced cream and like, look, man, I'm not gonna claim to know what's going on with you at all. I know gender's some whack shit, and I'm not here to stand in your way. You got to figure this out, and I'll be damned if I'm gonna make it worse.
Yeah, like he's as supportive as he can be, given that he has no idea what's going on and is confused. He's just like, he tells the story about like how they did a thing that a lot of people do that is kind of gross when you think about it, in that families would bet money on what the gender of the child would be. And they bet money that Nichiren would be a girl or a boy or whatever. No, they bet money that the sister would be...
That Maho was going to be a boy.
Like thousands and thousands of yen, so pretty low stakes.
Like a hundo thou.
Yeah, so like $10 bucks.
Or maybe I think it was 10 thou. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I forget the conversion rate.
1,000 yen is like $1. I want to say
roughly.
Roughly. Anyway, and then at the end he's like, I think we maybe mixed it up a bit.
Maybe I owe people some money.
Maybe I made him. Maybe we all muddled things a bit.
Don't tell your grandma. Not because she won't accept you, but because I don't feel like dealing with that bet.
Well, wasn't there that moment when the grandma opened the door because the kids had to go visit their grandma, and Maho was like, God, why do we have to visit grandma? Ugh.
Yeah,
I thought that was
they
like
had
a
to visit
nursing home
They had to
lady.
visit their grandfather, and it was some old lady who they were friends with.
Yeah, opened the door, was like, oh, there's these two lovely girls, and Nichirin was like gonna cry of joy.
And Niturine's sister gets so pissed, and I'm so happy every time she's upset.
I know, and I'm like,
good.
What?
Good. I'm glad your boyfriend wants to date your sibling more than you.
And she's so wishy-washy too. Sometimes she's cool, sometimes she stands up for her brother and is like, and then sometimes she's just like the worst person ever.
I think at the end of the day, she doesn't. I feel like she doesn't really care two ways about it. She just doesn't want it to fuck up her life, which is still selfish and shitty. But I feel like she just doesn't want anything to do with it.
She's a very selfish teenager. She doesn't want what kind of reputation that would give her. She doesn't want to deal with it. She wants her brother to be normal. But she still loves them, kind of. But she's just so incredibly self-centered that,
Family. It makes no goddamn sense.
that she doesn't even consider that what she does could be hurtful. At all. I think that's part of her problem. And she's like that with a lot of people. She just doesn't consider her actions hurtful because she's just thinking about herself in every moment.
Yep.
Because she's 14 or something.
She's a 14-year-old amateur model. Ugh.
I really like that bit where Anna was modeling because they really captured those weird dumb finger poses that Japanese models do all the time.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. It's when they're because they're all the models. They're friends, and they're all friends with that one super famous model. But it's
I think she's an idol.
She's almost an idol.
Yeah, I was looking out for that because the subtitles never really use the term idol. Because that would carry a lot more weight. Because but the fact that if they had used the term idol, this would have made more sense. Because it's even the middle school boys knew who she was.
Well, she was on all the magazines. In the manga, Maho
when I was 13, lots of
because
people were on magazines that I didn't fucking know or care about.
I mean, magazines print culture in Japan is still very much a thing.
I guess it must be. It has to be.
It is.
It has to be for that to make sense to me.
Certainly is. But in the manga, Maho wanted to become a model because she idolized this girl. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
I liked her. She was kind of shitty, but not actually shitty.
Yeah, she was shitty for the right reasons.
She was lovably shitty.
Yeah,
Mako?
Mako, yeah.
Yeah, she was, kind of, weird, harmlessly devious.
Yeah,
She's literally just I'm not a bad person, but I'm also super famous and can basically get away with anything.
So let's see. We still got to talk about the bully character
Fuck
and
him.
I guess the play.
Yeah.
Doi, which is pretty great. His name is Doi. So
I never said it out loud.
yeah, it's
I mean, with
Doi.
an English accent, it's yeah.
It's also one letter off from Dio if you want to make that comparison.
Absolutely not.
Why? I mean, I know Tooch made that video, but why?
I don't know. But
I should make another one using Doi.
Doi DOI was the name of the band Strong Bad made in episode 3 of the Telltale game.
God.
It stood for, you get to pick what it stood for, and it's
What did you pick?
Well, it's Strong Bad, then the King of Town, then Hamsar each pick one word starting with those letters. Uh-huh. So it's demonic octopus interrogation or whatever.
Cool.
No matter what it is, it's bad garbage. And the O is
just
always
Doi.
The O is always a food.
All right.
Is king of town. So Doi is this bully who bullies.
He's a bully who bullies people.
Bully.
And, makes fun of Nichiren for being a girly boy. That's, his words, not mine. But after a certain, what happens is he sees Nichiren with Yuki, the trans woman who Nichiren and Takatsuki are friends with, and he talks to Nichiren. He's like, I want you to introduce me to her because she's this hot older lady, and I want to get in on that. And he's kind of forces himself, he bullies himself into being Nichiren's friend.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it's like, we should hang out, we should walk home together, we should, I should come to your house. And it's like, doesn't...
Show me that cross-dressing thing you do.
Yeah, I've heard you, I want to see what it looks like. And it's like, you can tell that Doi is figuring out some stuff about himself, like...
Yeah,
his own sexuality.
He's very much that genre of bully that bullies other people because he doesn't understand himself and it makes him uncomfortable.
Yeah. But he's also definitely manipulating Nichiren for his own gain. It's almost like a guinea pig on whom he can test his own identity.
That's also a real thing that people do, and it's awful.
Yeah. He also kind of doesn't look like he belongs in this show. Like, the show has a very moe art style, and he kind of looks like a baby Spike Spiegel.
Kind of. I guess because he's the bully.
He reminds me. There's a blonde, spiky haired kid in the comedy anime The Daily Lives of High School Boys. You ever see that?
Yes, I love that show.
That's a pretty good anime. I should have watched that immediately after this. It would have
to make you feel better.
It cleansed. Yeah, well, maybe we should add that to the pile.
God.
But yeah, Doi, he comes to Nichiren's house and asks him to cross-dress. And at first, Nichiren feels like he's being accepted because, Doi's like, you look really good like that. You should go and come to school like that. And this is right after Takatsuki came dressed to school in a boy's uniform and with everything with chi. And Doi's suggestion was almost like the tipping point for him because this was a guy who's completely unrelated to his circle of friends telling Nichiren that this works. This seems natural for you.
He's being given outside third party confirmation that nah, this works. It's good for you.
And then when Nichiren doesn't come to school for a while, finally comes back to school, and is finally having to face all the horrible things people have been saying about them while they weren't in school. There's a moment when Doi walks down the stairs with his friend, and Nichiren's walking up the stairs, and as they pass, Doi just says that he's just calls Nichiren a moron. He just says, "You moron," just so derisively, and it's just
and he just fucking stands there for a second and then just keeps going, and it's but turn around and fucking fisticuffs.
Fight me. I don't think he even stops. He just sort of says it in Nichiren's ear while he's walking
he doesn't
down.
Stop. Yeah,
in the middle of his other conversation.
Yeah.
Which also sounded like a real shithead conversation that two shitheads would have.
I think my favorite Doi moment is when, I think it's after that even. He has the gall to, keep talking to him and try to,
Yeah, he keeps acting like he's Nichiren's friend and doesn't understand why he's not. And there's a moment that is referenced to in the anime that happened in the manga where Takatsuki and Nichiren, when they were first becoming friends, had an exchange diary to sort of express their experiences with each other because they both related to each other so much with what they were going through. And Doi gets it somehow. He and his friend get it and read it out loud to the whole class and share it to the point where everybody knows what's in this diary. Everybody knows about their secrets and shit. And so Nichiren mentions that in the anime, though it doesn't explain it. And Nichiren just tells him off. He's just Nichiren's I hate you. We're not friends. You're an asshole. You don't treat me like a human being. Why do you keep talking to me and wanting to hang out with me? And then Doy's like, oh shit, I fucked up. And it's like,
yeah,
what
that was
does
the thing.
he
Like,
want?
but he does it in such a way that like he acts like he just struck out with a chick. He's like, I blew it. Like, what did you think was what's your game? What's your goal? Do you even know what your goal is? I don't even think he knows what his goal is.
No.
He's just so offended because it's like this whole thing started because he saw him hanging out with the older trans woman and just saw like a beautiful woman, older woman. He's like, hey, like he's being a skis-ball and it's like, hey, I want to hang out with this adult chick that apparently likes younger men. And then she reveals it's like, oh, I'm actually a trans woman, and he like is up in the middle of the night like, fuck, like everything I know is wrong.
Yeah, because he's at that age where he would be that shitty guy who would do that. Like,
he thought he was in a hentai for a sec.
He's
yeah.
Like, so why did you like? Yuki's like, why did you come here to meet some old what was it, Okama?
Yeah.
And he's thinking, like, I was trying to get some cougar pussy.
Yeah.
No,
because I can.
Yuki is like Yuki knows what's going on. And Yuki's like, you know, she's been there before, and she's very dismissive. Like, she's sitting on the floor, and she's almost like, I'm an Okama.
Oh, I
like,
mean,
just point blank, like.
Good, because like this like child is trying to like put the moves on. No shit, she's just like dismissive and totally fucks with them. I would love nothing more than to just fucking verbally judo flip a teenager like that.
Yeah, and it just be
that
like,
was
yeah.
so good. And she even like she wakes up her husband.
Yeah, and
it's like I'm married to him too. We do stuff. It's great. He doesn't care. I'm shattering your entire worldview.
It's like,
it's delicious.
Who's this shitty kid here? Why is any of this happening?
And she does have that moment where she comes to the school festival dressed in men's clothing. And it's like this interesting moment for her because we don't really know too much of her backstory in the anime, and it's like
it was sad. That's what
it
we
was
know
really
for a fact.
sad. We know that her husband, they knew each other, and her husband always used to defend her when she got like locked in the janitor's closet or whatever, or beat up. Oh God. The play.
The
play.
Yeah, there's also one other character, that guy who's got a crush on Chiba, who's so terrible it makes Chiba seem like a good person. But that's kind of it.
I don't even remember that person.
He's not in it much.
Oh, yeah.
He's mostly silly, if nothing else. I kind of wrote him off every time he was no longer on screen. I forgot he existed.
Yeah, I forgot that he existed.
Right. Yeah, so the play. For the cultural festival in their first year of middle school, they vote. Chiba suggests that they do a gender bender play, and their Schmendrick teacher's like, "Oh, what a novel idea! Who would like to write it? Well, like, somebody write it and then bring your scripts to me." And then
the whole class is just staring at Nichiren and Takatsuki, and it's like, And
Nichiren and Takatsuki are looking at Chiba, thinking like, "Are you fucking outing us?"
Yep.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck are you doing? They're like blushing. They're like incredibly uncomfortable. Their friends are Sasa's uncomfortable. Mako's uncomfortable. Everybody's like, what? And all the other kids are just looking at all these kids and being like,
yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah. So Chiba and Nichiren both write their own scripts. Chiba's script is just Romeo and Juliet with the genders reversed, and Nichiren's script is an original thing where the idea where everyone one day switches gender, and people adjusting to that, and the teacher's like, oh, these are both very good ideas. How about you combine them? Like, great, excellent,
thanks.
But that does allow for some great moments and great lines, which actually play off of the original text of Romeo and Juliet. The idea is that Romeo wants to be a woman and Juliet wants to be a man. And the idea of them
exchanging names,
which is also something that Takatsky and Nitorin do in a very, very touching moment.
Yeah.
But like, they play with the whole, wherefore art thou Romeo, which really means, why are you Romeo? In the original text, it's like, why is it that you are a Montague or a Capulet? I forget who's which. Why are you from the one family I'm not allowed to kiss? This is a real inconvenience and bummer for me, Juliet. Whereas here, it's like, why are you Romeo? Why are you a man when that is not how you feel inside? And I feel the same way. So the idea of them, so then they switch places and they switch. It's actually a very clever twist.
Yeah, it's like, why are you Romeo and why am I Juliet? It should be the opposite. Like,
yeah. And it really sums up.
It sums up how these characters feel about their situation.
Yeah. That they are, fundamentally trapped in something that is not them. Something. The person who they want to be, they almost can't be. And without, like, this weird one-in, one-out thing that is, entirely perceived, but very real to them. Mm-hmm. This idea that is like matter cannot be created or destroyed, so the names have to be traded.
Yeah, because like that is the thing. Like, I can imagine somebody who's a little bit more on the up and up with the progressive queer movement and politics would sort of see these kids and almost see it like misguided, in like the fact that these kids are still very much operating under this binary in a way where they're like, I am a boy who wants to be a girl. I want to be a girl. I want to be a girle. And being a girl means having a wig and wearing pretty dresses and being cute.
Yeah, no one in this show rejects the gender binary. None of them are on that level. Well, maybe Chi-chan.
Chi-chan does.
She rejects everything that isn't chi.
Yeah.
I love
Chi is chi. It runs through her body.
Yeah.
it's chi.
She will ascend to an astral plane and leave us all.
To the hoop.
And yeah, I can...
She dunks on St. Peter.
She dunks on the Buddha like Sun Wukong failed to do.
And I can understand how somebody can look at this in 2016 and be like, this is misleading and not right. And I agree. It is problematic in ways, but at the same time, I like how the author tells it from the perspective of kids who don't know any better.
Yeah.
Like,
kids you put it very succinctly in the beginning. It's like kids who don't have Tumblr. So much of what I currently understand about trans issues is from my tenure on Tumblr. I feel like I've learned everything of use I'm going to learn on Tumblr, and then the rest is just bullshit and people making up problems. But I really did learn to be... this sucks with me. I was not always accepting of trans people. And I to an extent, I can blame societal programming, but I also take responsibility for being a dumbass shithead. And because of the kind of pooled wealth of information that websites like Tumblr or, any of these kind of forum on the internet, it allows for this sort of... This is not shit that's taught in schools. This is not... Until recently, this was not widely acceptable, widely distributed and accessible information.
Yeah, like, there might be books... There are books written about it. There have been since, like, the 80s or the 70s or whatever. But those are, like academic shit or, like... It's not stuff that a middle schooler even knows to look for. Right?
Yeah, there's... like we've talked a lot about the vocabulary, and unless you're really introduced to this vocabulary, you're not going to stumble upon it on your own.
Like, the only reason why I knew about the idea that somebody could be transgender was through Oprah, which itself was kind of a problematic forum, but it was the only one I had where I was, like, introduced to this idea. And then the idea that just because this person is a woman and sees themselves as a woman doesn't mean they're going to start dating men. Like, she had this woman who was a trans woman who dated women. And, like, everybody in the audience was like, why? What? And as a kid, I was like, what? Why? Because you're just so brainwashed by this heteronormative society that you don't understand these things. So, like, if this weird, like, sensationalist Oprah episode is the only thing I can get to tell me that this is even a thing that happens, like, these poor kids aren't going to be any better. And I don't know what it's like in Japan. I honestly have no clue what queer politics, queer activism, anything is like in Japan, or even just gay activism is like in Japan at all. It's kind of a different world. Like, I remember my professor said she went to Japan once and she did attend, like, a drag show where it was lesbian women performing drag like male gay men, because that's what they thought it was that's what they thought they had to do. That's what they thought gay culture was. Like, the West and the rest of the world's view on this stuff is, like, way different, and we can't judge other cultures' interpretation of the stuff with the same lens that we do here with our modern current
it's got
politics.
its own societal and historical things that have led it to where it is.
Yeah.
That's a central part of intersectionalism, is not applying your cultural lens to issues that exist in another culture.
Yeah. And you know, the play, they do it again in the second year. They rewrite it, they revamp it.
It's closer to Nitorin's original script.
Yeah. And the show ends with Nichiren coming on stage, playing the main character. The play is called I Am a Girl, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like the symbolic moment almost of Nichiren, like, stepping forward in front of all these people, their family, friends, people they don't like, people that don't like them, and just sort of living in this moment of what's a triumphant moment, but also a very scary one. And that's where it ends. The anime, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like we said, there's no, like, firm resolution, but all the characters have gone through stuff and have grown, and they've gotten I was gonna say they got closer to understanding where they need to be, but you know, that's not a finite, discrete point. You know, they've gotten further to something, but
they've
you know,
certainly
maybe
mended a lot of their relationships with each other.
They're moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, will they ever reach a goal? The idea of a goal is very abstract here. It's not a... Anyway.
And I feel like that's just like... I feel like so much of the way that this story is told is just like... Any issues I ever have with it, or not issues, just like unanswered questions, I'm just like, I mean, that's kind of just like life, though, and I feel like that's really what this is trying to do.
Yeah.
Is just really show... It's less of a story with arcs and more of just like, I mean, it's a slice of life.
Yeah, I mean, it really is.
It's the closest thing to this genre's name that you can get. It's just giving us these specific people's story at a specific point in their lives. And I feel like that because these issues are talked about so young, I feel like that makes it good because it's got a universalness to it, because like I don't know anything about gay or queer politics in Japan, but neither do these middle schoolers. So we're on the same footing.
Yeah, definitely. And like for me, it was like, you know, I've watched a bit of anime, and like it's just not something that comes up in
never.
Japanese pop culture.
Whenever I've ever seen it, it's a fucking joke in a literal sense. It's used for comedic effect, and I always hate it.
it's transphobic, it's misogynistic, it's transmisogynistic, it's always a joke, and it's, like, very uncomfortable. And this is the first time it's, like, actually, like, these are just people. Let's have a story about some people with their lives. And it's like, whoa.
It's worse because it's kids.
And it's hard, you know? Like, I know there are some manga that discuss being gay in Japan.
One written by the same author.
Yeah.
Called, Aoi Hana.
Yeah,
Is there any
which
word
was
on...
also adapted into an anime.
Is there any word on this thing's local reception?
In Japan?
Do we know
I
what
haven't-
Japan thought of it? If they
it
even
won
acknowledged it?
It won... It was selected as a recommended work by the awards jury of the 10th Japan Media Arts Festival in 2006.
Cool.
Apparently, it has been lauded for its use of gender reversal at the core of the story and emotional realism. And the thing went on for 11 years, so...
People were buying it.
Yeah.
That's true.
It seemed to be filling a gap, a need.
Is 1.05 million copies of the manga. I don't know if that's a lot for a Japanese market, though.
I mean, if it's... Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what the scale is.
I don't know anything. There's so many things I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you for joining us on this episode where we're kind of out of our element, but trying our best.
I mean, it is and isn't in our element. Like, we like to talk about
it's
these
like,
issues.
Yeah,
but there's no solution. There's no answer. There's no conclusion. It's just like...
God, this is worse than when me and Devin tried to talk about Blade Runner.